double check, make sure we are coming through on that. Okay, that's muted, so we shouldn't have too much of a reverb and stuff like that going on. Good morning, the fallen republic of what used to be America. How y'all doing today? We are live in 5x5, so hopefully people will funnel in here in a minute. If not, oh well. We are back at it, and we are going to be talking about a couple things this morning. I'm doing more of a test run, I guess, with, as you can see, the new setup. We were finally able to get in a new place, and I've finally gotten most everything set up here anyway. So, you'll be seeing a lot more of us, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, there's other channels. Anyway, but let's get into it here. Now, wow, where do we start? All the craziness going on out there. Well, put it simply, in my personal and humble opinion, everything is being done to attack our food. That is they've tried things over and over again, to divide us, and this side versus that side and everything else, and eventually we smarten up enough that it doesn't work. So how else can they control us? Well, they take away our food, and then what are you going to do? Because everybody out there is going to feed their kids or themselves, or, we all got to eat. But we're going to get into a couple things here today. Before we go any further, no, this channel is not for kids. Teach your kids everything that they should be taught. My kids know how to grow food. We know how to compost. They know how to send freedom seeds straight down the line where it needs to go. There's a lot of stuff that we don't get passed down anymore that, really should be. And unfortunately, it's becoming very clear that a lot of that stuff is going to be needed in the near future. I will go back and I will put the link in the description because I didn't when I was making this. But if you want, head over to our Discord channel. It is, what did I name that thing? Black Flag something. Sorry. It's been a while. But anyway, it's set up as a library, so that way we added a whole bunch of information. Once we hit a couple more levels, I'll be able to add some more, because they only allow certain file sizes on it. And we just haven't gotten there yet. But once it does, we will kick it up there to where I can share a lot of other things. I've got a huge list of books. I know books are what they are, words on paper. You've got to put stuff into practice to actually make it work. But having knowledge on hand can be very helpful, and we try to make sure everything is in the PDF files to where you can go ahead and print it out. You've got a hard copy, so when there's no more Google, you can't just Google something up. You'll have it on hand. But alright then, I'm going to go ahead, and anybody that doesn't know, we did start off in the prepping community to start with. That's how we started the channel. And then there was a bunch of drama and all that kind of stupid stuff, so we kind of skipped out and we went over to the stacking community. Just hung out over there. Bunch of great people. I always recommend it to everybody. Very welcoming. There's lots of communities out there on YouTube and in other platforms as well. So go find one that you fit in, but don't be afraid to kind of stretch your roots every once in a while. But anyway, okay, let's see here. We are going to go ahead and, because I've been seeing a little bit, which might be interesting for some. Silver, I've got. Let me bring it up here. Hold on, let me close that. Bring it up here. There we go. Okay. Now this one here is going to be SD Bullion. It is a company that I do kind of recommend. They are a very good company. Um, got a little bit of the graph here. You can kind of see there at the end of 21 into 22 where it was at. But of course, we got up here nearly $30 an ounce. Right now today they are saying, let me get rid of this, sorry. They're saying spots about 25.39. I've got a little what do they call it, a widget or something like that on my phone that kind of keeps me up to date on that. It did drop below 25 last night, and it was almost up to, well, it actually went a hair past 26 at some point, either yesterday or the day before. So right now with things going on, it might be a good time, only if you've got extra money to spend. Now, I definitely recommend going ahead and getting in there and getting everything prepared that you need, by all means. But silver and gold are a good way to sustain your wealth, in my opinion. I am not a financial advisor. Do not take me as one. I'm just some monkey behind a camera. But gold has always held its wealth throughout history. You buried, what was it? How did that saying go? Back in the 70s, whatever the gold price was, it was, I want to say, in the 30s or something like that. You buried that much, even $75 worth. You buried $75 in bills, and you buried $75 worth of gold. Well, nowadays, gold price, let's go right here. That is not what I wanted to do. Current gold price, there we go. It's $40, under $2,000 an ounce. So say you were able to buy an ounce back then for that price, $75 from back then would still be $75, but the ounce of gold would be $2,000. So you kind of get the point real quick. Another little saying is back in 64, I think it was, minimum wage was $1.50, somewhere around there. And you think about that, of course, back then in 64, the quarters back then were 90% silver, actual money. Because if you look up, when they talk about dollar value, the word dollar does not talk about pieces of paper. It talks about a certain amount of silver is what a dollar actually is. So, but anyway, getting back to it, today's standards, that amount of silver would be worth 25 plus. So $1.50 back then, just in the quarters. If you had those quarters today that are 64 and older, that are 90% silver, you're talking $25 or better, probably even closer to 30. On average, if you can get $1 worth of silver, constitutional silver for about 20 bucks, you're usually doing pretty good. So you figure $1.50, round it up real quick, 30 bucks. So what they were making back then is worth about $30 now. Can anyone say inflation? But anyway, this is a site I would go ahead and check out if you get the opportunity and you have the extra. Only if you have the extra. Take care of everything else first. Find your gaps, find your holes, find what you need to go ahead and have on hand first. That is a big deal in my opinion. I have recently, after moving, and of course, the past couple of years, I'm sure we all found holes and gaps in the stuff that we had. And if you're first time or new to this, don't be afraid, and definitely do not compare yourself to everybody else. Okay, we've all got to start somewhere, no matter how you look at it. Get a little bit extra every single time out. It will start adding up, I promise you. That's how I've done it, and I was even raised to where my grandparents went through a lot, and they always told me, you know, winter and where I live, tornado season comes every single year. So it's good to have stuff on hand. And where they lived for, well, from the 70s all the way up into their elder years, which unfortunately my grandfather is no longer around. But they lived in an area to where they saw a lot of flooding every single year. So having that extra on hand made a huge difference to where if they couldn't necessarily make it out of town or just whatever. And for anyone that doesn't know, I am from Missouri. I am in the southern portion at the moment. I'm from the northern portion. And up there, they can still get some pretty decent snows too. So you get snowed in, it's good to have food on hand. So there's a lot of different occasions to have it. Even down to breaking a leg. That's what a lot of people don't think about. They want to think about, well, you know, you're preparing for the end of the world. How about preparing for next week? I mean, seriously. How nice would it be to come home from work, not have to go out to do something, plan just a little bit ahead. We already know what we're going to have for supper. It's already on the calendar. Hey, we're having this tonight. Cool. It's in the cabinet or in the fridge. Put it together, cook it, meal for that night. Everybody's happy. And for anybody that does, that's kind of interested in that, on your meal planning, I call it meal planning anyway. Go check out the channel Big Family Homestead. They've got obviously a big family, but they go ahead and try to plan out for the entire month ahead of time what they're going to have for at least one, you know, their main meal. So that way they know that they have those things on hand for that meal for the entire month. Now that's kind of getting a little more involved into it than just getting started, but do it for a week. Plan out your next week, what you're going to have each day, just for supper. And make sure you have that stuff on hand. Then you don't have to go to the store. You don't have to go out to eat. You don't have to, because right now in this household, while our family is larger, we've only got 5 people in this house. So going to even say McDonald's, that's not cheap. And the amount of money we spend on going to McDonald's, you could actually get quite a bit of food to be cooked here at the house, a little bit of work. So don't be afraid of a little bit of work. Get the stuff done. But anyway, back to it. Okay, so we got gold at almost $2,000, roughly $40 under 2,000. We got, and I did it again. Let's go back down here. Okay, silver price was about 25.36 on this one. The other we've got is JM Bullion. They've got it a little higher. So between 25 and 25 and a half is the asking price when it comes to spot. I will tell you right now, for a lot of times when it comes to spot price, because their last year, towards the end of the year, metals, and even right now, metals are kind of a hard thing to get a hold of. That was another thing that got hit by everything being shut down and less hands on deck and all that kind of stuff to go ahead and get the product out there, just as we're seeing with everything else. I personally recommend, don't get me wrong, I really like bullion. I really like all this stuff, but if you can get something that is very well known, that's like American Silver Eagles are known the world over. Now you can also get fakes, don't get me wrong, you have to be careful on who you get stuff from. But when it comes to 90%ers, and I want to say Canadian silver is roughly between 80 and 90%. Depends on which ones you got. Sterling silver as well. You know, there's a lot of different things that a lot of people out there aren't going to take the time to try to fake. So that's another good thing. That's a solid buy. You can usually get it cheaper. When it comes down to it, it may not look pretty because circulated silver that's in the 90%ers can be on the rough side, but it's still silver. So it's another thing just to kind of keep hold of. Like I said, in my personal opinion now, it is just for preservation of your wealth. Because even as inflation goes up, the price of the dollar or the worth of the dollar goes down. You know, what we call the dollar. As I said a while ago, you know, truthfully, when you look at the documents, dollar is supposed to mean a certain amount, weight-wise, of silver. But I digress. Silver is silver. Gold is gold. It will, throughout things, hold on to its value. So, once again, not a financial advisor, but just like physical assets, property, things that go bang, all them different things are going to be wanted even after something may happen. Hopefully we don't have to worry about that, but you never know. That's why we prep. We try to be ready for whatever comes our way. Okay, now to get off of this, get back on my ugly mug here. Alright, I see someone has popped in but isn't saying hello, so whoever's watching, appreciate it. Let's see here. Okay. Now, for anybody that's been living under a rock, things are going to start getting tough. There's stuff going on all over, whether it be the war overseas, whether it be another bug going around, whether there's so many different things, it all has to eventually come to a head. One thing on its own, you know, you can eventually push through it. But there's so many different things attacking our food chain and our food supply at so many different angles. Things are going to get rough. Now, I came across this article and I found it very funny because of all places, it's actually from Wired. And that's more of a, usually kind of a tech kind of thing, you know, I mean, computers, what's going on in the tech industry and so on. But let me bring it up here. Okay, there we go. It'll drag this down so you can see a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so once again, this is from Wired magazine. Alright, supply chain crisis is about to get a lot worse. A seemingly endless supply chain crunch has fueled interest in tech that promises to track problems and predict other ones might occur. So I mean, they're going ahead and saying, you know, obviously TVs aren't getting made. You know, there's a lot of stuff overseas that, if you haven't heard, Shanghai is completely on lockdown. There's people over there struggling to get food. So, I mean, another good reason to have some on hand. Hopefully stuff like that, hopefully we don't ever allow to come here, the way some of them people are being treated. And not just there, there's plenty of places that, to say things are strict is an understatement. But anyway. But it goes on to talk about the supply chain chaos and how it is going ahead and it's going to get worse. The strict protocols they've got going on over there, you know, there's right here, more than 120 vessels, container vessels are stuck on hold. I mean, you think about that. A lot of people don't realize how large some of those, you know, ships really are and how much they truly hold. And then you say 120 of those are on hold. I I mean, just in Shenzhen, that's quite a bit. And then, of course, the shipping cost of everything is going through the roof. Well, right here, it's even talking about the trucking costs have shot up 300%, right there. So, I mean, like I said, this is a tech magazine, even talking about this stuff. Because, of course, you know, just like with food, everything gets shipped nowadays. There's not really a whole lot that is local, truthfully. Um, if you get the opportunity, go out there and find things that are local. Talk to your local farmers, because I'm sure they're feeling the pain as well. Um, check around. Um, even the old town that I lived in started up a farmers market here recently. You know, they hadn't had one previous to that, but this year they've got a farmers market going on all summer. You know, check it out. You never know what you might find. You never know what you might come across. And a lot of those people that are doing that, they're growing for themselves, and then they're growing as much as they can. So whatever extra they can, they're trying to bring in a little bit so that way they can get the items that they're not producing themselves. So another idea out there for you, just in case you might be kicking the bucket around. Kind of time to go ahead and take the plunge. A lot of people will say, well, I can't, you know, I don't have this, I don't have that. Just give it a shot. Even if you had to put some dirt, and I'm saying dirt, not soil, because there is a big difference. But even if you just put some dirt in a cup and put a seed in it, and keep an eye on it and just try to take care of it. No matter what the plant is, whether it be some kind of herb, whether it be tomatoes, whatever. Now, obviously, if you're trying to do this in a windowsill, it needs to be something smaller because you know you can't have something huge in a windowsill. But even if you're living in an apartment, 1 square foot, if you try to take the time to learn and do it right, you can grow a lot of food in just a square foot because you don't necessarily have to move out. As they've proved when housing and things like that, you can always grow up, and that can make a big deal. But you will never probably go ahead and 100% completely offset what you need. Now, we can strive for that, and I personally, with my family, are headed in that direction. You know, we'll never be to where, I mean, I'm wearing a Magellan shirt here. I'm not going to be able to produce this. Now, can I sew and can I put material together and can I do things like that? Yes, I can. But I mean, I can't do this. But just like I can't make the products that I'm using to speak to y'all on. But little things here and there can really start to add up. Just like when you go into prepping, you know, just a little extra. If you go out to buy 1 can of something, and say the can is 50 cents, spend $1. Now, don't get me wrong, I fully understand that money's tight, and it's going to get a lot tighter, whether we like it or not. But cut back on a little something. You know, that extra soda a day, that cup of coffee, that if you're smoking, those cigarettes, if you're drinking, that alcohol. Now, nothing against anybody that does any of that stuff. I used to do it. You know, I mean, but if you really sit there and take the time to pay attention to how much you do those things, and you know, pack of cigarettes a day for somebody probably isn't very much, truthfully. You know, well, at least I'm not a 2 pack a day person. Well, you're right on that. But a pack a day, let's use the old cowboy brand for reference here. I'm not going to say the name just in case, but obviously everybody knows who I'm talking about. Last time I saw, I think those in my area were $6, $7, maybe even $8 a pack. Now you think about $8 a day. You cut that out, and I understand it's not easy. It's gonna be a rough ride until you can finally get past it. But look at your family, look at your kids. Put the effort out there. Do it for them. Do it for yourself. Be in better health. And then you've got the extra money as well to invest in yourself, in food for them. Or once you get some food stocked up, put it into first aid. Put it into security. Put it into whatever that you can put it into that is a physical, tangible object that you'll have on hand. Because we really don't know what's coming. But unfortunately, I can almost guarantee you something's coming. I mean, everybody thought preppers were crazy until a few years ago. And now, not necessarily that everybody was right, but there was a bunch of them that weren't necessarily wrong either. But anyway, I digress once again. Back to the point. Try to get rid of those things. You think about that. I'm talking about spending an extra 50 cents on buying just one extra can when you go out and buy something. Now, if you're buying 8 different things, that's extra can of each, you're talking $4. So you're still only talking half of what that pack of cigarettes is. And then you have not only one meal, you have an extra one of all of those items. You set back on a shelf. Now, I'm going to be having a lot more videos come out. I'm going to be trying to go over a lot more stuff in depth. I kind of light stepped around a lot of stuff, but we're going to get a lot deeper into things. So one thing I would recommend, get you a Sharpie. Whenever you put an item back that's in a can or even box, anything you're going to put back on the shelf, whatever is the most visible part of that container for you. Cans, I say the top, because when you pick it up, you're looking at the top. So, but a box, if it's right there on the front, you're going to see it as well when you're looking at the package. But I would go ahead and take a Sharpie and its best by date or whatever date it has on there, because most things nowadays don't actually have an expiration date. It has a best by date on it. Go ahead and write it on the top of the cans or the front of the box. That way it's right there within view, and always put your new stuff behind whatever you have. Rotational stock. It was something that used to be taught to a lot of people in stores. When you were stocking shelves, you always put the new stuff in the back, so that way the older stuff got sold first. But it doesn't seem to be as common knowledge anymore as it used to be. What is going on, Joe? Let's see here. Klingon, what's going on? Well, you be safe out there on your drive to work, okay? Don't let this big ape distract you any. And Joe, I'm glad they're getting up, and I hope y'all have a good day. I truly do. Thankfully, I've been blessed enough that all my little ones are doing good. All the older ones are doing good. And we are in this new place, as you can kind of see behind me. Little close to a road out here, but we're still out in the country. You gotta have some country roads, Of course, we're a little, where I'm at, kind of off over that direction from where I'm facing. They've got a little bit of a drag strip, so every weekend it can be a little noisy outside. Not too noisy here, thankfully. I'm not that close, but you can still hear it off in the distance, which, you can hear it off in the distance if you're outside, which makes it cool. But yeah, definitely drive safely now. But, so let's get back to it here. So yeah, a Sharpie. Put the date on top of the cans, put the date on the front of the boxes, and then when you grab it, you can easily see where it's at, or if you're looking through stuff, it makes it just right in your face. It's hard to miss. Some of that print sometimes, it gets real small. I've noticed on some products, it seems like that date always seems to wear off first. I don't know what it is, if it's the ink that they use to put it on or whatever, but it just makes it a whole lot easier for you. So, recap real quick. As you're going along, try to just get one extra, and it will slowly build up. I guarantee you. And then maybe even get back to doing what a lot of people used to do and what a lot of people still do today. Look for those sales. Clip them coupons. I know a lot of stuff's digital nowadays. I haven't fully caught on to the whole digital thing, but I'll still go ahead and get a newspaper once a week just to try to check the sale bills, see if there's any extra little manufacturer coupons or something like that in there. A lot of people might look at that and be like, wow, that's stupid. Well, yeah, but I can also buy stuff sometimes at half the price or less than what you are, so when you spend what you're spending and I spend the same amount as you, I'm buying double. You get one meal, I get two. You buy a week's worth, I get 2 weeks worth. You know, it really adds up real quick when you try to be a little more frugal with your money. We've kind of gotten too much into the right now. I want it and I want it now. I don't want to wait. Well, that makes a big difference on cost too. Even made bread to get rid of the old flour. There you go. I mean, and that's the other thing. If you're not going, you start noticing that some of your items haven't been used, which I always recommend to everybody, and I know everybody else does too, try to get stuff that you're actually going to eat. If nobody in the house is going to eat it, there's usually no sense in going ahead and getting that. Now, if stuff starts getting right down to the bare bones, people can eat it or they can go hungry. I mean, that's the way I see it. That I don't like it attitude. Well, have you either tried it? If you ain't tried it yet, how do you know you like it? And if you ain't gotten past that point, you can eat it or you can go hungry. But for the most part, while we're still kind of in a somewhat stable situation, get the stuff that you know you're going to eat. Then you can rotate it out, keep as fresh a stock as what you can on hand. And if something starts to get to where it's older and you're not going to eat it, maybe go ahead and donate it to somewhere. There's plenty of food pantries all over the place trying to help people out. And yes, I know some people do take advantage of those, but there are people out there that actually need help. And they're usually too proud to ask anyone for help. So the fact that they even go to like a food pantry sometimes is a very big step for them. And for anybody that might catch this, asking for help sucks. But we all got to do it at some point. At some point in your life, you will ask for help. Go ahead and swallow your pride. Do it. And do what's best for your family. I've seen plenty of people that have put their kids in a very, very bad spot. Just because they were too proud, too stupid, too whatever. And I'm talking about family, truthfully. So, but when it comes to taking care of those close to you, that should be your top priority at all times. That's just the way I feel. If people don't like that, once again, oh well, there's other channels. Thank you for stopping by. Catch you later. Or not. I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore about how I feel about things. I am not going to hold my tongue if I think something. I will try to kind of stay in the guidelines of, this sandbox, because it's an easy one to reach people on. That's just, different things happen. because of this, I was actually able to go ahead and get the opportunity to try something new. Now, I'm not using that camera yet because I still got to figure out a couple things on using it as a webcam, but hey, it allowed me the opportunity. So, but anyway, back to it once again. I really believe a lot of what's going on. Sorry, I'm reading chat right quick, so that, for a guy like me, it's kind of hard to do a bunch of different things at once. But let's see here. Most of what I've stocked is soups. We eat rice, canned meats, and some artisan on closeouts. And for a lot of people that don't know, Walmart even usually has, I think it's only like a 32-hour kit. It's usually around $20. May even just be a 24-hour kit for a couple people. But $20, a little bitty bucket, you set it back, you forget about it. It's freeze dried, it's good for a while. It's usually a lot of that stuff, for the most part, when it comes to emergency situations like that, will be like an oatmeal or some kind of pasta meal or something like that. So, I mean, shelf life is going to be good on it. You can set it back, and if you do have that emergency, power goes out, whatever might happen, at least you got a little bit of an advantage to start with. So, let's see here. But that is a good idea. We always talk about it. Why do we talk about getting rice? Well, because it keeps a while. Now, you don't want the brown rice, because just like with, wheat flour, now not the berries or whatever that you can grind into flour, but the flour itself usually has a tendency to go bad before the white stuff. Once again, has to do with the preserving factors, the process. There's a lot involved. But with rice, the brown rice usually goes bad a little faster. So go ahead and try to get you some of that. In my area here, the local Sam's Club, I think I can get a 50-pound. I think the prices went up to about $25 now for a 50-pound bag. I'd have to check on that to be 100% for sure. I've got a couple out there that need to be vacuum sealed up and all that, and we will have a video coming out on that, because now that we're out in the country a little more, we get to play around with field mice, and I need to make sure things are a little more sealed up than what they were last. And I've just been behind on a lot of stuff, so. But I really think that they are trying to attack our food supply in every way possible, because they've tried so many other things, and it just hasn't worked. They try to divide us, and well, we eventually wise up to it a little bit, they try playing the right versus left, the race card, the this, the that, and I don't have problems with anybody unless you have a problem with me, is the way I look at it. If you're a good person and everything else, I really don't care about pretty well any of the other crap. I think a lot of people want to use the word liberal and throw it around and talking badly about this and that. It depends on your variation of the word. I know plenty of people that would be considered conservative nowadays that not all that long ago, before the whole throw back and forth, because of some of their opinions, would be viewed as liberal. Just because of their view on certain things. Now, don't get me wrong, you've got the far left, but at the same time, you do have the far right as well, and I still think they try to push that narrative a little harder than what a lot of people realize. A very simple act of divide and conquer. Let's see here. That was before my dad was forgot we had it. Well, I'm glad it was still worked for you and came up. I'm guessing from what you said there, Joe, that everything came up pretty good, and you said you made the bread. I'm gonna go ahead and put out a couple of bread recipes here pretty soon too. I've got a couple that are really easy. There's like a no knead bread, and I think the last one I made was like a beer bread. So I mean, it's literally, what was it? I think sugar, flour, and a beer was about all you needed for the ingredients, because the yeast and the beer and everything. But I had a bread machine, very nice, very nice. My grandmother used to have one of those, and don't get me wrong, that woman there could cook like nobody's business. But when she got that bread machine, whew, there was never more, there was never less than a couple loaves of bread in that house, and they never bought any more after that. She was already baking some, but the way it made, how easy it made it for her, yeah. Let's see here right quick. Sorry, I got a message on the phone. I don't want to. Okay. Well, it looks like a captain on the Black Flag Knowledge, is what I was talking about Discord. Like I said, I'll come back later and I will link the Discord in the description for anybody that needs it. A little recap on that. Everything's in PDF form. It's set up like a library, free to everybody. Share it with anyone. Get as much off of it as you can. I'm going to try putting some more down once we get up there a little bit more. I'll be putting some of the books that are just too large right now, because until the channel itself grows, they kind of cap you off at so many megabytes for the files you can upload to it. Awkward text and what's going on? Thank you for stopping in here. Wow, no, squirrel. But anyway, yeah, we're back. It feels good to be back. I might try doing this just about every morning. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But there's plenty of videos coming. We've got a second channel kind of set up. It's called the 1 Acre Homestead. That's just going to be anything that we do around here. From we're getting chickens. We've got all kinds of stuff that is being worked on. Once the weather starts working a little bit better with us, you'll see a lot more of that. I will be posting it on this channel as well, but I'm going to keep all my personal thoughts and opinions on just this channel, so that way we can kind of let that one just do its thing, and anyone that just wants that information can have that information. This one over here, I'm going to say all the stuff people don't like too, so. But let's see here. Yeah, Joe, I know you are. You do a lot. Joe does a lot on the Discord for us. He actually took over it for a while because I'd kind of had my fill of a lot of stuff, and well, he took over for a bit, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I need to get my butt back over there and go ahead and start uploading some more stuff so people got even more information. But there's stuff over there, from food, from growing it to preserving it to doing whatever, to military manuals, to first aid manuals, tactical stuff, survival stuff, bushcrafting. The library is, well, like I said, I wanted to set it up as a library. So anything someone with a little bit of a prepared mindset would want, I try to have in there. Stuff from even basic electronics, working on something around the house, hot water even, archery, just primitive weapons, So I'll come back and I'll go ahead and I'll go link that in the descriptions for everybody to have that. And once again, share it out there. Everyone's welcome. It's an open channel. Now, of course, all I ask is go ahead and use it. Share it out there. You start coming in and trolling people, well, you're a troll. So, we'll take care of that. But I want to be as open as I can with everybody. And personally, I'm one of the kind of people that if I like you, I give you shit. So I'm okay with it a little bit, but there's always that person that wants to go too far with stuff. And if it ever comes to that, we'll deal with it. But thankfully in this community, we usually don't have to deal with anything like that from in the community. But anyway, okay, back onto the food thing. Anybody that doesn't know him, please go check out Christian at the Ice Age Farmer. He does an amazing job of really kind of connecting the dots on all the different things that's going on and what they're doing, and trying to make it to where the ones in power, or supposedly in power, the ones that try to tell us what to do, they're trying to control the food system. And of course, you control the food, you control the people. That's been all throughout history. No matter what area you look in, that's what they've tried to do. And they're trying to do it again. But definitely go check him out. One of his last things he did, I will bring it up here. There we go. Okay. It was the former CDC director. Bird flu is the real pandemic. C-19 was just a practice, was his article here. And it's even got a video for it. Of course, he's on YouTube. He's on, let's see here. He's on BitChute, on Odyssey. He's on, let's see here, Patreon, Telegram. That's what I was trying to think of. I'm new to Telegram, so it's still work in progress on me figuring all that out. But yeah, go check him out. He's got a lot of great information. He usually talks to a lot of extremely intelligent people. And beyond him, I would check out Rudy over there on Alaska Prepper. He is an awesome dude. Victor for president. You'll have to go see his channel to understand that one. Anyway. He also talks about the monetary system as well. Fiat is toilet paper. The only thing that puts behind it, it's a promissory note. And used to, when they first started printing out the paper, it actually even said promissory notes on it. That little piece of paper would be, if turned in, you would be getting either gold or silver in its place. That's how it worked. Well, we all know how that ended up. I can't take a $20 bill in now and get gold for it. It just ain't working. Arkansas whoop ass. What is going on, brother? Thank you for stopping in here. Just the ramblings of a madman, or ape, whatever. Standing on two legs and usually not hunched over. Kind of depends on what I'm doing. But definitely go check out Christian on the Ice Age Farmer. Check out Rudy over there on Alaska Prepper. Both really great channels on what they're doing with our food system, trying to get ready. Rudy goes into a little bit more of being prepared, obviously, to where Christian has a little bit more of a farmer mentality and trying to grow the food and what they're doing to the system. They're trying to make it to where animals are, their view is animals are dirty and dangerous. And he'll even say that a lot himself, is what they're trying to do. We don't want animals, out there. They want everything all caged up and, in a little box, just like they want people. You go into your little box and you stay there till we tell you to come out. That's what they're trying to do with the animals as well. Now, if you want to check out some great information on getting things going, as in growing and all that, if you're more into trying to get your garden going, definitely check out Curtis Stone, the urban farmer. He now is to the point to where he is on his own homestead up there in Canada, doing kind of his own thing. But if you go back on his YouTube channel, and he's got some other stuff, all the different platforms nowadays. But he, in his previous videos, he's been on there for years. He's a market gardener for the most part, so it's a matter of getting as much food as quickly as possible to be sent out there. But there's an extremely great amount of information in the way they grow the food and the people that he's went out there and talked to and just how they do things in general. And let's see here. The other one I would recommend personally is, I believe the name of the channel is Learn Organic Gardening. That man, he's living out in Arizona, out in the desert, growing his greens. That's another thing. If you look for grow your greens, you'll probably come across them as well. He used to have some health issues and was in very bad shape. And he went ahead and kind of went to just straight juicing and growing the greens and all that kind of stuff. And I hear you right there, Arkansas, southern Missouri, right here, kind of near Arkansas. I'm in southeast Missouri, so it's definitely been cold and wet. I've got the garden beds going. I've got stuff coming up, and starters, and I've got pots and stuff like that out there. I've got a few lights with some decent bulbs in them to try to kind of help things get going. But I'm to the point to where things are going to be going in the ground here very soon, and if it keeps going, well, I've got plastic on hand now, some greenhouse plastic I'll just be putting over the top of it, and we'll just run with it. It's the best we can do. There's actually a house I seen about 3 miles or so from where I'm at, that out behind their house they got two high tunnels that are just absolutely in disarray. You can tell they haven't been used in years, so I'll write them a little letter and stick it in their mailbox and give them my information and stuff and see if they want to sell them. If I can get them over here, I've got the room for it. We'll get them up, bring them back to life kind of thing. And then I ain't got to worry about the weather as much. My thing here is I got to worry about the soil. Stuff around here is pretty sandy. So for anything that likes good drainage, it's good for that, but anyone that knows anything about soil content, that sandy soil doesn't hold on to any kind of organic stuff very well, so. But we'll get it built up. We just got here. It's part of the process, one thing after another. Let's see here. We talked about kind of some precious metals to start with, where those things were at. My thoughts on that. Talked about the Ice Age farmer. Definitely go check him out. Rudy, Curtis Stone, Grow Your Greens. Another person that they've just recently moved. If you haven't checked it out yet, the channel is called Sow the Land. That guy and his family, he was very, very sick. Like, I want to say, I'm not going to say because I can't hit the nail on the head there. But I want to say it was kind of like cancer. I'm wanting to say it was leukemia, but, well, I guess I said it. But anyway, I could be wrong. But he was very, very ill. I like that, Just the Messenger. Yeah, that would probably be pretty interesting. But go check them out too. He's doing Sow the Land. He's doing great now. him and his family just moved to a lot larger, piece of property to where I think they're still calling it a homestead, but I mean it's several acres. Um, if y'all get the chance, like I said, go check out. We've got the other channel going on. It's called 1 Acre Homestead. It's just only going to be the homesteading stuff. There won't be any, talking like this on there. But we are hitting right about an hour, and I've got a couple text messages. Speaking of which, to kind of get back to here. But I think we're going to start doing this every morning. Like I said, we are back. We are going to get this ball rolling. Got some new equipment to really start doing stuff great. I hope the sound has come through pretty good on this. It looks from my levels, I might be a little low, but that could just be on this end. Hope you all like the new surroundings back here instead of just a plain wall behind me. I appreciate y'all coming. So, from this ape to all y'all and to anybody else out there in the fallen republic that used to be America, y'all have you a great day, and we will catch you around. Thanks for coming.